What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing. I just finished up watching Derek Chisora versus Gerald Washington, and this was a 10-rounder in the heavyweight division. And this fight was Saturday, August 12th, from the O2 Arena in London, England. And this fight was broadcasted on DAZN. And in this fight, Derek Chisora was able to pick up a somewhat controversial unanimous decision victory over Gerald Washington. So I scored this fight 97-94 in favor of Gerald Washington. I thought Washington had the much better work overall, but the judges had much different scoring. One had it 96-94 for Chisora, which I could definitely see, but the next two scorecards I kind of can't. They had it 98-93 for Chisora and 97-94 for Chisora, but I definitely think this fight was a really close fight and a very tough fight to score. If I'm going to be honest, it was not a good fight at all. Definitely a snooze fest. Both of them weren't really, or specifically Chisora. Chisora was just going forward with his head, not really landing much. And let me just delve into my scorecard. The first round I gave it to Derek Chisora just because he was a bit more aggressive, landed some decent hooks on Washington. So I gave him that first round. Then rounds 2 and 3, I gave them both to Gerald Washington. He was just doing better on the outside, jabbing Chisora, landing the better shots. Then, same with round number 4. Round number 4, I gave to Gerald Washington as well. Washington was just landing better on the outside. And I don't know what those judges were seeing. And I know I said this fight's kind of close, or it was really hard to score because it was very close. But I thought that in the end, Washington really should have been the victor here. I mean, he was doing the better work overall, I would say. And in that fourth round, like I said before, Washington was just doing better on the outside. Chisora would land with one decent hook to the head or a couple shots to the body, but Washington was peppering him with 1-2s to the head while he was backing up. Then round number 5, I did give to Derek Chisora. It seemed at that point that Washington was breaking down. And that's the same in rounds 5 and round 6. Gerald Washington is notorious for looking good in the earlier rounds, then in the middle rounds getting stopped, like against Charles Martin, Ali Demazarian, and Deontay Wilder. He looked decent early, then got brutally stopped in the middle rounds. So I thought this was going to be another case of that because rounds 5 and 6 were very good rounds for Derek Chisora, where he was landing big shots on Washington and making him look a bit more slow and tired. Then in round number 7, I gave it to Gerald Washington. Washington was landing a bit better late, and same with round number 8. These rounds were very close. Not really much was going on, but I thought that Washington was doing a bit better, just landing like 1-2s, and I thought Chisora's work was really sloppy and not effective. Then in round 9, I also gave it to Chisora. Very slow round, but I just thought he was connecting better. Even though Chisora would land a little hook here and there, I just really thought he was connecting the better shots. Then in round 10, this round I gave a 10-10 round. Both of them really did not do anything at all, and a few of the judges did give 10-10 rounds here. So, I mean, if there was a fight where you give a 10-10, I think this was the first time I've ever given a 10-10 round in doing a video on scoring some of these fights. But, I mean, this will be the fight. I mean, they were just not doing really anything in that 10th and final round. But yeah, that overall equates to a 97-94 scorecard for Washington, in my opinion. If you did watch this fight, comment down below your scorecard. And this goes in the question, what is next for Derek Chisora? 34-13. He looked very washed up in this fight. I thought he was going to be able to stop Washington, but he did not. A lot of people were commenting on that prediction video I made that Derek Chisora is completely shot, and I completely agree with them. He's completely shot. Even a year ago, would knock out himself now. I mean, he looked much better, like just about a year and a half ago compared to now. I mean, if you're taking that much punishment in your career, I mean, I guess it's gonna get to you at some point. But yeah, I really think he's done at the top level, and I know that he was never really at that like top 5 level, but he was always been fighting very tough guys, or he's always been fighting the top guys. He had very good fights with Joseph Parker, very good fight with Alexander Usyk. He knocked out Takam. Had some very good fights with Dillian White. And he's always been competitive with all those guys. He was very competitive with every single one of them. But here, in this performance, he just didn't look good. He really didn't. He wasn't as aggressive, wasn't as fierce. Looked a bit more vulnerable. And I mean, he's 39 years old, going on 40. So I mean, or really 39 in the boxing sense. He's 39 going on 45. I mean, he's really not looking good recently. So Yeah, for Derek Chisora, I could definitely see DAZN and Matchroom throwing him in there against maybe someone like a Dempsey McKean, maybe someone like, and maybe if Chisora is still fighting in a year or two, maybe they could throw him in with Johnny Fisher, because he just got a very good win here. Maybe they might step him up, throw him in there with an all-out British war. But for Chisora, he might just be staying as a journeyman, fighting the decent guys, maybe taking some losses, maybe getting a decent win or two like here. Um, but yeah, overall, his career is basically over in terms of like fighting for world titles or anything like that in my analysis. But as for Gerald Washington, I thought he fought very well, considering he had a new trainer, Malik Scott. And I thought he was doing much better than usual. His gas tank looked a bit better, but I mean, overall, I wouldn't say this was a great performance from either man. It was definitely not a good fight. So, yeah, but for Washington, he's 20-6 now. I thought he was going to be retired because he didn't fight for since the Demazarian fight. So, for him, he could end up not fighting again, or he could just be there maybe as a journeyman, fighting some decent prospects, fighting some decent contenders, maybe picking up a win or a loss. I mean, both of these guys are in very similar points of their career, sort of at the end, and are sort of viewed as journeymen. And they fought here. It was a very close fight. In the end, I thought Washington won. But yeah, so overall, Derek Chisora gets his 34th victory, defeating Gerald Washington by a generous unanimous decision. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.